female talent with a few super chaps thrown in. I trust you're all full to the brim with alcoholic beverages now. No, that sounds like a very sober audience. Right, I will crack on. Before I start introducing more wonderful artistes, I'm going to tell you a little bit more. After all, Madame Reed did ask me to share some of my tales of daring do. After finishing school, I got launched onto the season, a chance for me to bag a husband as a debutante. Mummy bought me some very fine gowns on Bond Street, and she constantly dripped words of advice into my ears. Mostly they involved keeping quiet, not showing off, and looking interested in whatever a fellow was talking about. Ask a question, Dallas, and make the fellow feel valued. But remember, he'll rarely be interested in your view, so don't express opinion. They are off-putting and should be left to the men. It was a terrific summer, though, full of polo matches and tea parties and Royal Ascot, of course. Oh, and so many balls. It all went by in a bit of a whir of cocktails and dancing. My own coming-out ball became a bit of a moot point. I think that's when Mummy was most disappointed in me. She'd spent ages organising the evening, which I was sharing with my cousins, Lucinda and Margot. So exciting to be having a ball in our honour. Exciting and rather nervous-making. So we decided to have a couple of drinks just to settle our nerves. It helped a little bit, so we carried on. And on. I haven't been able to face gin and it since that evening. But it all went swimmingly. The ball was very well attended and everybody had a very jolly time. And that was the night that Gwen told me she'd become engaged to Sebastian Fitzhenry. Oh, I was delighted for Gwen. And very jealous of Sebastian. The night carried on, and so did my drinking, until I decided, along with my cousins, that we should stage a show for our guests. Well, we all know how much I like putting on a show. But no poetry this time. No. We'd spotted some enormous rhubarb leaves in the kitchen garden when we were out taking the air, and decided that we could incorporate them into some sort of dance routine. Of course, our gowns were far too restrictive, so we took them off. And then Margot said it would be an absolute hoot if we took off some of our undies too. Oh, but the leaves covered our modesty. We checked when we rehearsed. They were extraordinarily large and flouncy. We asked the band to strike up Minnie the Moocher, and we started dancing with the rhubarb leaves. A little like a fan dance. Or so we imagined. We'd never actually seen one. We launched ourselves into it, buoyed up with excitement and gin. It took quite a while to realise that our audience were not reacting as we'd expected. We thought they'd enjoy our japes, but they all seemed to be just standing there and staring. And then the music came to an abrupt halt, and Mummy dragged me out of the ballroom. That was the end of my season right there. I spent the rest of the summer in Dorset with my great aunt. Oh, it was terribly dreary. There were no young folk to talk to, just Great Aunt Dodo and her ancient pals who were all deaf. They used to bellow at each other over incessant games of bridge, only stopping to eat finger sandwiches and Battenberg. Oh, I was so bored. I was writing letters to everybody I knew, begging them to come and rescue me. On one of my frequent forays to the post office, I bumped into, quite literally, a very tall, very handsome fellow in uniform. I didn't notice for quite some time that he had a glass eye. He had a large parcel in his hands. And we kept sidestepping, but going the same way. Comical, really. Eventually, we extricated ourselves and went our separate ways. Except, wouldn't you know it, I got a puncture on my bicycle. As I was standing there trying to work out how to mend the thing, Angus, for that was his name, turned up and started mending the bally thing. A true knight in shining armour. After he'd finished doing whatever it was that he did, he asked me if I might like to come for a cup of tea in the village tea rooms. I said, yes, please. Possibly a little bit too quickly. He really was terribly handsome. For once, I wasn't too forthcoming, and I asked lots of questions, and we got along famously. And once we'd finished those cups of tea, he asked if he might see me again. I said, yes, of course. But this was rather tricky, as I was meant to be with Great Aunt Dodo at all times. This was a punishment after all. No socialising was allowed. Suddenly, I had even more letters to write, requiring almost daily visits to the post office. Everything moved rather quickly with Angus, as we knew he was due to be posted abroad shortly. Time was not on our side, so our romance moved on apace, in all ways. Normally, one would only hold hands, or possibly kiss, with a new beau. But with Angus, you know, having imminent danger ahead, well, things moved on a little faster, and we did more than one would ordinarily countenance. Oh, he was such a passionate man. His kisses drove me wild. Of course, all of this couldn't happen in the village tea room. Oh, no. So he'd drive out in his Armstrong Siddeley to some private place in the countryside, a field or some such, and we'd show our love for one another. Admittedly, I did seem to show my love for him rather more than he did for me. But apparently I was very talented, and I just needed a little bit of practice to achieve perfection. So practice I did, and I did so love it when he praised my performance. I even loved it when he smacked my bottom with some force whenever he praised me. As time went by, Angus started asking if I might show my love for him in different ways. Ways that really should only happen between a man and his wife. I was terribly unsure, but I knew that I loved him, and I knew that we would get married as soon as he returned from his posting. So I agreed, and we moved into the back of the Armstrong Siddeley. Though it was terribly uncomfortable, and I wasn't at all keen to start with. But I persevered, and I got used to it, and to all the ungainly positions that Angus seemed to favour. I even got used to always ending up with a mouthful of, stuff. Well, we didn't want to have babies, not yet. In fact, I came to enjoy every last minute of our time together. Awful of me, I know, not ladylike at all. Sadly, Angus turned out to be an absolute cad. One sunny day, Great Aunt Dodo and I, well, we went for a jaunt to Lyme Regis, and I spotted Angus selling ice cream by the cob. Not a uniform in sight. And then a lady turned up with a brood of children who all called him Daddy. I was appalled. I knew he'd seen me, but I didn't make a scene. I just walked away, full of disappointment. I knew I would very much miss our shenanigans in the back of the Armstrong Siddeley. I never did find out how he came to have such a fine car, nor where that uniform came from. I never found out anything, as I refused to talk to him again. What a bounder. After that, I returned to Mummy and Daddy's place in the country. They were away, touring Switzerland, as Mummy still couldn't bear to be near me. So I had a pretty free rein of the place. It was terribly quiet. I knew the staff had been told to keep an eye on me, but I really was a very fast cyclist. So quite often, I'd disappear in the late afternoon with a picnic and a book, seemingly innocently. They couldn't exactly chase me down the drive, could they? I used to go to the local beauty spots, where the young folk like to sun themselves after work. They were a little bit wary of me at first, but they soon warmed up when I started sharing the contents of Daddy's cellar with them. As the evenings would progress, they'd start pairing off and finding more private spots to, well, you know. I'd often get chatting to one of the fellows, share a drink and a smoke and a few laughs and, well, end up misbehaving somewhat. I was forever telling myself that I'd only talk this time, but my desires were too strong, and I always seemed to end up on my knees or on my back or bent over a tree stump or something in a grassy clearing. Oh, but then I bumped into the twins again. They'd grown up to be mighty fine young fellows, still identical to most people, but I knew better. And I very much enjoyed reacquainting myself with their differences down in the Red Barn. In fact, I enjoyed myself rather too much, as we got caught out by Mr. Simpson, the head gardener, who seemingly had been following us. I'd grown sloppy and thought the staff were no longer bothering to work out where I was. Damn foolish of me, because one particularly rampant and exciting Saturday afternoon, I slowly became aware that the three of us were being watched by Mr. Simpson. He had a very shocked look upon his rather flushed face. I was horrified that he'd seen me in the altogether. He'd known me since I was a gal. Well, the lads grabbed their clothes and they scarpered, and that was that. Haven't seen them since. Of course, Mummy and Daddy were summoned back from the Alps to hear of my disgraceful behaviour, and I was banished to London to stay with Dennis, my politician brother. Mummy, who was under the doctor by then, she took to her bed with her nerves, and I haven't been allowed back home since. Of course, they thought Dennis would sort me out. He has such a responsible job at the House of Commons. He seemed like the obvious choice. But he really does like to let his hair down. As I mentioned previously, his flat is constantly full of his scantily clad close friends, none of whom show any interest in me still. However, he does go along to some terrifically wild parties, and he started inviting me too. Said we're only young once, and Mummy and Daddy didn't need to know. It was at one of his parties that I ended up bumping into Gwen from finishing school and her delightful husband, Sebastian. We were all a tad worse for wear, as the cocktails were absolutely top hill. And that drink, well, it really loosened my tongue, as I admitted that I'd had a pash on her back then. She looked very interested and said, "Oh, when did that stop?" And I blushed and bumbled something about it being a silly schoolgirl thing. And she looked disappointed and said, "Oh, that's a shame." And I don't know what came over me, but I took her face in my hands and I kissed her on the mouth. And it was divine, so soft. She pulled away and looked at Sebastian. Something passed between them. And the next thing I know, I'm kissing him. And then she's kissing him. And then I'm kissing her again. And then we're all heading for a bedroom somewhere at this party. And we're all kissing again. And then, well, we're all naked. And her breasts. Oh. Her breasts. Well, they're even better than I ever imagined. And I'm kissing them and caressing them and more, much more. And, oh, she still smells of Chanel. Oh, crikey, I think I really have said far too much now. I think I need to go and have a little sit-down somewhere quiet. Yes, in the meantime, are you ready for some more entertainment, Penzance? Good, let's